Doug MPA back with another video. So this is a good one. I'm going to continue my men and women in the workplace series. This article is called When Women Hate Women. This is a male author that asks, why do women in positions of power become other women's worst enemies? He says it's about time to have a new #M2 movement, one that gives voice to all those women who have been bullied, denigrated, dismissed, and humiliated by other women. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. Before I get into this article, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. Let's see what this Hans George Betts has to say. Now, this article came out in 2020, so it's a little dated, but I still thought it was a good one. Once again, when women hate women. I read the first line already. It's about time to have a new M2 movement, one that gives voice to all those women who have been bullied, denigrated, dismissed, and humiliated by other women, particularly women in a position of power. This might sound bizarre. Actually, to us men, it doesn't sound bizarre because we know that women really can't stand each other. When they're friends, they lie to each other. When they work together, they gossip about each other and destroy each other's reputation. And when you have a woman, and most women would prefer to have a male boss. So us men, we know that already. So it doesn't sound bizarre to us at all. After all, the myriad of documents produced by international organizations and NGOs abound with claims to their dedication to the empowerment of women. Women in leading positions like Angela Merkel in Germany and Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand are celebrated. Marine Le Pen's rise to become a legitimate presidential contender in France, not so much. Hillary Clinton still gets away with presenting herself as a feminist icon despite her continued defense of her husband's misconduct, her long-standing friendship and association with, HW. The fact that the Clinton Center for American Progress, which is headed by a woman, is rife with accusations of harassment, intimidation, and censorship of its female employees. How many of you guys knew that? Once again, it's a center headed by a woman, so you're not going to see that in the news. There's an ugly truth here, which is that more often than not, women in positions of power throw any sense of gender loyalty overboard. Actually, it's worse. Women in power become other women's worst enemies. That is 100% true. Most women would rather have a male supervisor. And almost all women have a story of a horrible female boss. And when they tell that story, the way they're telling it, it's like they haven't even gotten over it yet. It was that traumatic. Most women have had that kind of female boss that's just made their life absolute hell. Once in a position of power, climbing up the career ladder becomes all-consuming, even if it means jettisoning fundamental principles. Take, for instance, a study from 2009 reported in the academic journal Gender and Management. The study's purpose was to find out how women felt about working for women. The results were devastating. Positions of power. To be sure, women in general thought women were good managers, yet women did not want to work for them. It's true. Most women rather have a male boss, so they want women in power, but they want to work for the men. And I guess us men are supposed to have the female bosses. So move all the men under the women, because the women want women bosses, but they don't want to work for them. In fact, the longer women worked in the same job, the more they preferred working for a male supervisor. The study authors surmised that this might have something to do with females' perceptions of female managers as being high in dominance. That's not the perception, it's the reality. High in dominance more often than not translates into treating subordinates in a haughty and demeaning fashion. Recent study from the University of Arizona found that women in the workplace experience more uncivility from women than in men in positions of power, guys. There it is. As a result, women reported lower well-being, job satisfaction, psychological vitality, and increased work withdrawal. A 2011 survey of legal secretaries found that not one of them wanted to work with female partners because female lawyers are impossible. That's on your list of women to avoid are female lawyers. I'm telling you, you don't want a woman who always thinks she's right, will never shut up, and knows the law. You are in a world of hurt for a long time. You're in for a miserable life if you get involved with a woman like that. Among the reasons given was that they were treated in a demeaning fashion, serving as a punching bag. The article caused considerable consternation among its readers, forcing its editors to issue a mild apology for the hurt feelings. Oh, man. Workplace harassment is a major and very costly societal problem today, whose negative psychological impact on its victims cannot be underestimated. A decade ago, a workplace survey found that occupational harassment was 4 times more prevalent than S harassment and racial discrimination. Yet compared to the latter, workplace harassment continues to be taken less seriously, and that's true 100%. As a result, it is rarely reported either because the victim has a sense that nothing will change anyway, or because she fears retaliation, or because it is so antithetical to the way women are supposed to behave to other women. And what they're saying there is you have to maintain the sisterhood. You at all costs. Even if a woman is treating you like garbage, ladies, you're supposed to maintain the sisterhood. Say, yes, queen, we want more women leadership, no men in here, even if the women are more likely to treat you like trash. As a result, they suffer quietly or they leave. The reality is that when it comes down to it, institutions are more concerned about preserving and defending their reputation than the well-being of their staff, no matter what. Once again, the sisterhood. And the empowerment of women can't have women speaking out against female leadership. Remember, in America, management, the future, government leadership is all women. Unfortunately, that's the perception right now. Like, I don't agree with that at all, but if you look around with all the current messaging, that's what it is. Take the case of UNICEF. In 2019, in response to an internal report, women charged that at UNICEF there was a prevalence of an old boys club culture where harassment and bullying were rampant. The situation was similar at other internal bodies. The World Health Organization, for instance, reported in 2019 that harassment cases were up more than 90% compared to 2017. To what degree the perpetrators were women is unknown, but presumably non-negligible. And that's the problem. People still can't wrap their heads around women doing any kind of malfeasance. Queen bees. They're going to talk about queen bee syndrome. A recent report by Workplace Bullying Institute, an American advocacy group, found that a third of workplace bullies were women. This marked a noticeable decline compared to a decade earlier when 4 out of 10 workplace harassers were women. What had not changed, however, were the targets. In both instances, women preferred to bully women in around 70% of the cases. In the case of male bullies, the situations were different, whereas 10 years ago, men were equal opportunity harassers, but now they converge with female harassers. To be sure, female on female harassment is far less prevalent than male on female harassment. Is it, though? Well, I guess according to the numbers, maybe, I guess. However, as a 2012 Forbes article charged, when it comes down to it, women are the worst kind of bullies, apparently more vicious and nastier than their male counterparts. And let's kind of explore that issue a little bit, guys. Women are more socially adept than men, particularly in the workplace, because they've had to learn how to be socially. They have to learn their social skills because they don't have the physical capability to defend themselves. Women have so many avenues to bully other people. You have the women in the HR department that know all about your personal information. Everybody's. So they're in everybody's business. Then women can make false accusations and will be believed, even against other women. So if a woman makes an accusation against a man, she's believed and that guy has to prove his innocence. If a woman makes an accusation against another woman, she has to prove her innocence too. Women have so many more ways to harass a person than a man. And women don't have boundaries. Women will just keep going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. That's the difference between a male bully and a female bully at work. Cecilia Harvey, a London-based consultant with HSBC Global Banking, who has done extensive research on workplace bullying, calls this behavior queen bee syndrome. It arises when women treat their female colleagues in a demoralizing manner, either by undermining them or using their social stature to manipulate others into thinking less of them. In a recent article, Harvey suggests that these queen bees are the adult versions of the mean girls from school who make the lives of the uncool girls miserable. Only this is not high school, and the repercussions can be devastating. As Harvey puts it, women bullies can have lasting negative effects on both individuals' careers and entire organizations. The queen bee syndrome can be the biggest hindrance to women advancing in the workplace. See how she said that? The queen bee syndrome, not men, can be the biggest hindrance to women advancing in the workplace. Women always have their eyes on what men are doing and how men are holding them down, but they don't look at what other women are doing. Harvey confirms that the charge made in the Forbes article, confirms the charges made in the Forbes article. Women, she notes, while not necessarily overtly aggressive with one another, instead use their social intelligence to manipulate relationships or damage the reputation of others. Women's socially aggressive behavior include gossiping, social exclusion, social isolation, social alienation, and talking about someone with others. Doesn't that sound like your last relationship with a woman, guys? Women are finally starting to find out, and I'm really glad, because this assumption that women are just automatically morally superior because they're women. Oh, women would never do those type of things. Wrong. You're seeing more women, keeping other women down at work. You're seeing women become the face of theft and violent crime in the United States. You're seeing women teachers doing all sorts of crazy stuff to their male students. Women are just as bad, if not worse, than men, and time is gonna shine more light on that. I think I've gone over enough of this article. Let me know what you think about this. If you're one of my female subscribers, hey, if you're a guy, male or female, and you have experience with a horrible female boss, put it in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one.